I wanted to ask about those air raid sirens. You said they go off 6 or 7 times a day now, even when there's not significant fighting of any kind at all in Kyiv. So I wonder, how do you react to those sirens now? How do people react? Is it like a car alarm where people know that they should just ignore it?
Probably something from our human psychology, because of course, first these alarms, we try to find some shelter, but in our home here in Kyiv we haven't any shelter. We have some big parking, but maybe it's like 10 minutes walk from our home, so not so far away. But when it's 6 or 7 times in a day or in the night, it's really hard to wake up and to go. And you understand that probably it's your life and you can just walk maybe 10 minutes and you will in safety place. But when you still in your home, probably you can die. But when it's really happens so often, you have maybe not to ignore it. When you have to concentrate when it started. When it started, I always watch in my phone when it will be end, because to understand that probably okay, I can go walk or I can do something. But probably we don't change something in our life. Maybe last 2 or 3 weeks. We sitting at home or doing some things. Probably right now is not alarm, but probably before it was ended, maybe 20 minutes before your call to me. And if it will be continue, I just will be here in Zoom too, because it's probably impossible to change something very in your life when it's happened very often, and you probably start to be to believe that probably if it will be happened, probably it will happen. If something for you will be okay, it will be okay. So you understand that probably you can you can maybe push this situation in another way, and you probably just believe in our army that they can destroy these missiles in the air, and you wanted to live normal life. So first sirens, first months, it was really horrible to hear it, because it's like from we are like generation, probably we don't see a big wars, and for us it was like something from movie, these sirens. But then you used to live with the sirens, and maybe two weeks ago we play football with my friends during these sirens, because we compare maybe 10 person, we have ball, we have free time, we don't see each other many times because somebody wasn't Kyiv, somebody wasn't, and we start to play, and this siren starting, we saw two eyes to each other, and we decided to continue play, because we haven't any shelters near our football field, and we don't understand what to do, and we just continue to play, and then it was the end of this sirens. But you have only one life, and this life is usually short, and you have to live. But of course, every people, it's not normal to live during this sirens, because you can't imagine, and you can to think what is the target for these missiles, and maybe it's your home, maybe it's some small industrial object near your district, and for you it's like always like this Russian roulette. So it's like some game, and if you think how, when you understand how Russians making this war, you understand that for their military civilian objects, they are like some targets too, because we can't understand their logic, because they really bomb some hospitals, some schools, and we don't know why they doing it, because it's like some terror. It's not a war. Of course, when you are probably on the war, some mistakes can happen, and you can really bomb some hospitals, not military base, because like all missiles, they have some, I don't know, manage. I'm not military guy, but probably understands that every people can make mistake and you really can bomb some school or something another. But for Russian military, it's not often. It's really forever situations that they are bombing. They destroyed so many schools in Ukraine, so many hospitals, that we start to think that maybe it's not usual war, it's really like some type of genocide of our people, for that our children can go to normal school, our, I don't know, old people can go to some hospitals to receive some medical help, because these hospitals are not exist. So they really making this war like some barbarian. Yeah.
Maybe it's some sort of psychological terror that's supposed to make the population wish for an end and maybe demand from their leaders that we compromise.
Yeah. I think it's like some part of their tactic, that they, and because probably of course we haven't right now all information, because our government don't say about some this missiles attack, what was destroyed, some important object or maybe not important for us, and we haven't all information. But I think that in this tactic they really make it like psychological attack for Ukraine, because they wanted to show that they can catch us everywhere. Donbas, okay, Donbas. Kyiv, okay, Kyiv. West of Ukraine, very close to Polish border, okay, we can catch you here and we can attack you here too. So, and sometimes people in Ukraine, it was some days when this, not only first days, but in maybe 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago, it was some days when they really attack a lot of objects in one time over all country, and you started to think, wow, they have really a lot of missiles, because some experts, American experts or NATO experts or Ukrainian military experts, they start to say that probably they used big part of their missiles, and probably it will be not so many attacks in future, but again and again it happened, and probably it's like some part of this psychological war too, for our people probably start to say Zelensky, so please finish this war, please make some peaceful agreement with Russia. We don't want to live in this situation. We don't want to live during these sirens. We don't want to die. But right now we keep strong, and it's maybe, I don't want to say that it don't work, because 2 weeks ago I don't know this woman, but he's like close colleagues to my friends from media. She works, she died, producer of Radio Free Liberty. She died in her flat here in Kyiv during this missile attack. One missile bombed her home here in Kyiv, maybe not so far away from city center, and this woman, she died. It was in the day when here in Kyiv was this guy Gutierrez from United Nations, chief of this organization. He was in Kyiv, but it was not a reason for Russia not attack Kyiv. And this woman unfortunately died. And so I can say that we are strong, because every day, it's not a joke, it's not a game. Every day, every hour died our people, and it's really horrible. But right now, any movement in Ukraine to our government to stop or to make some peace agreement with Russia. So right now we still fight, probably.
Yeah. So it's like Russian roulette. You said it's a it's a gamble. When you're out on the street, when you're ignoring an air raid siren, everything's a gamble. You're 6 or 7 times a day, you're thinking, do I go on with my life and live normally? And most people probably like you are deciding, yes, that is what I do. I can't 6 or 7 times a day run into the basement. And yet this person, sorry, did you say that you knew this person personally, or?
No, I know because she worked in media, in Radio Free Liberty. Sometimes they have some project with this radio. They wrote some articles about my movies, and I know a lot of her colleagues, really close colleagues who works with this woman. So I know this woman from through one person probably, and for me it was and this situation was very sad because she come back to Kyiv too because she wanted to live in her flat. She don't want to be like refugees in Lviv or in another region. And you can probably, when you think about this woman, you understand that probably you are like some colleagues, you work in one big media area, and you are like usual person like this woman, and you just wanna live your usual life in your flat. You are not so maybe I don't know, rich or important person. You are just like ordinary person, and you can be on her place, and it's horrible when you start to think about it in your head. So I don't know this woman personal, but I know many her colleagues very good.
Right. Yeah, and she's in your industry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really sad when it will be sad if she, I don't know, if she was a teacher or I don't know, engineer. It will be horrible too because it's like life. But if it's some close to your area, to your friends, you start to feel it probably with more power. You start think about it because you knows a lot of people who knows this woman, and you understand for your friends it's like a big tragedy, this situation. And it's because when it was 8 years ago, probably it was only in Donbas area, and people who don't connect with Donbas or with army, they don't know some guys who and girls who died. But right now, this situation is like full scape, and probably every Ukrainians know somebody who injured or who died or who right now is without house, without flat because of this attack. So right now it's really close to everybody.
Yeah. It's probably a little bit like a car accident. I hate to talk about stuff like this, but that's the kind of thing that people usually think will never happen to them. And so I guess even when you're in Ukraine and you're living through a war experience, probably it's common to think that bad things happen to other people. And so when you have this situation where somebody is in your industry and you know of them and you know of their work, then yes, somehow I guess the situation inches closer to you. And
yeah, it's very close because one I don't know this guy too, but he was like movie documentary film director, and he died in Mariupol in April, and I didn't know him personally, but my producer of Eurodonbas worked with him, and they make probably one or two movies together. So he was like really close person to my producer, and I understand that for her it was really big tragedy. And of course I feel deep of this tragedy too, because he's like this guy was like my colleague. And of course when situation happened like that, really, as you say it, you understand that it's really close. But in general, if you start to think it in general, you really think that it's like car accident, because you think I don't know, use alcohol and go to drive, so probably with me everything will okay. But when somebody crashed in some car accident, you understand that probably you are not immortal, you are like some ordinary person, and you can be on this place too.
yeah. What about your movies then? And the is it proper to call it journalism? The reporting that area that you've been working in. If people want to see Eurodonbas, if people want to see Train Kyiv-War, or if people are interested in the things that you've been reporting about, how can they access those things? Should I put a link for example, that I know you have a paid link for Train Kyiv-War I can put here. That's probably the best way to see that.
Yeah, if you can, thank you. It will be really good to put this link for Train Kyiv-War, and maybe you can put. I can send you a link of trailer of Eurodonbas movie, and maybe somebody will interested about it, and maybe I hope this year this film will be in this digital distribution too, and it will be possible to watch it. If you're talking about general about filmmaking right now in Ukraine, I don't do any project right now because it's really hard to. I really big respect my colleagues who documenting crimes of this war, because a lot of people, a lot of filmmakers in Ukraine, they right now don't doing their movie. They really report and they documenting these war crimes in Kyiv region or in Donbas or in Kharkiv, and they really doing a great job. For me, it's really probably hard to go somewhere and to start to film, because probably I have to see to create maybe some idea, some point of view, and then probably try to make some film. So I am not like film director who with camera go and making film. For me, I need maybe some time for preparation, and I understand that right now a lot of people who can make this kind of movie better than me, and I just can support, because I give my films this Train Kyiv-War to charity distribution, and we fundraise some money for our armies, fundraise some money for our documentary filmmakers who documenting these war crimes. And I really respect these people, but I myself haven't any film project right now. Maybe in future maybe I will want to do something about this full-scale war, but right now it's really hard to concentrate. It's hard to concentrate on book or on film, and the best for me is go to do some physically work when you have some truck with humanitarian or medical aid for Ukraine, and you just work with guys to sort these materials, or go to some place in Kyiv when it was destroyed by missiles, and you try to restore this place, and you just work physically day. Then you come back to home, you are like tired, but you are happy that you are tired because you like your brain is like fresh and you can sleep well. Because when you're sitting all day in news, on websites, on broadcasters, it's really hard. And I think when I watch right now, watching of people, of my close friends or friends of my friends, we all try to not spend so much time in news, because you really became crazy if you will deep in this. Because I think after this war, psychologists, psychiatrists, they will have really big job here, because a lot of people with stress and I think in future we all will really understand the full scope of this war, because this war like in air, like it's like some reality show, because probably it's like first war in history of in our planet that we can watch everything on the moment, not some small reports on radio or some guys one time in a day who's sitting on, I don't know, near microphone and says that today was this, tomorrow will this. We all can watch this war online, and I think it's sometimes it's good that you can understand situation without any manipulation, and you can think about it without any guys who can manipulate your opinion. But in general, it's really bad to see it. It's really hard to see how it's look like, and I think it's very hard for our brains, souls, and hearts.
Yeah, you want to be active in some way. You want to be moving properly. Yeah, you want to. I understand. you want to, it's better to feel active and useful than the opposite.
Yeah.
Always, yeah. Yeah, and about not having a movie project right now, it strikes me that not everybody can make every kind of movie. Train Kyiv-War was personal. It's it's about the place where you come from, but it's not, and you're an important part of the movie because you're the person asking people questions. But it's also not really about you. It's about the people on the train. It's about people in that part of the country. So that's interesting. But I also wanted to ask you about Eurodonbas, because that's very much about history. How did that become of interest to you? And how would you connect it to the present, if at all?
Probably Eurodonbas is like movie. For me, it's a really important project, because probably this film I have never probably worked before a lot with some archives, with some historical books, with some scientists, researchers. And for me, it was really big preparation work to try to explain history of this region. For me, this history is really interesting, because Soviet propaganda created for Donbas totally different histories, that it was like always like some wild field, and only Soviet government create in this area big industrial, and only in Soviet Union this area was really cool, and Ukraine can't manage it, and before it was like some wild field. But when we started to I know something about this guy John Hughes in Donetsk. Probably you remember monument of his guys.
Donetsk, yeah.
Yeah, it was in city center of Donetsk, and in city center of Donetsk we can find some old buildings from this time. But Donetsk, you know that it was like modern city with modern buildings, and it wasn't like a typical city with some old town in city center. It was totally, the city looks very different and modern. But of course, I know this story about this guy John Hughes from England, from Great Britain. And for me, it was when I lived in Donetsk, when I think about it, for me it was like some animal probably situation. So it was like Donetsk, like this Russian speak area, this wild field, and this guy from from Great Britain, it was something like surprise that he created something, and he founded this city of Donetsk. But when I start to learn about this period of time, I understand that all Donbas was created by foreign businessmen. And for me, it was really interesting that Hughes was not alone in this process. He was just one guy, but it was like some system from people from Germany, USA, France, Belgium, and you understand that it was really interesting historical process how they create this industrial in Donbas. And probably we don't know anything about it. When I start to talk with people from Donbas, people from Kyiv, from Lviv, another region of Ukraine, nobody knows it. So it was a very not popular topic in Ukraine because it's really make probably sirens. No, not the sirens. It was totally different part of our history. And for us, it was really interesting to work on this project. And I think it's very important right now because Soviet propaganda, they wanted to say, and today's Russian propaganda, that it was like historical Russian territories. Only Russia can make some civilization thing on this territory, because without Russia, it was just wild field. But if we go deep, we understand that no, Russia, that it wasn't Russia to create it. It was created by Europeans, by Americans. Okay, it was not a charity, of course, and we have to talk about it not with, I don't know, some pink glass and see that they doing only good things for us, because it's like a part of maybe colonialism or business process, and we have to talk how it was true. But I think it's very changed stereotypes about Donbas. About Donbas have only Russia territory or pro-Russia territory. We understood that 100 years ago, the biggest part of these people, they speaking Ukrainian language. They have Ukrainian clothes, and this region looks like Ukraine. And this is again about manipulation of history. What makes Russia, that it was always Russian territory. And I think, yes, this film is really important right now, and I hope that in this year we can show it, because when we show it to people from Europe, they ask, they talking to that for it's not popular topic and nobody knows it. And I hope that probably right now Ukraine in focus, Donbas in focus, and probably together we can explain the stories that we are part of this world too. So we are not going right now to Euro-Atlantic values. We haven't these values maybe 100 years ago, but then started Soviet Union, and everything was totally changed.
Right. Yeah, okay. You showed some people in the movie, so maybe in the West you'll get a different reaction. Where do you expect the film to be distributed? When do you expect it to be distributed?
We have plans to this spring to show it in Ukraine, because we are creating this film first for Ukrainian audience, because when we finished this movie, it was in December of last year. Of course, this tension of borders it was, but nobody knows what will be next. And of course, we don't think about some changing in film. So we want really to talk the story to Ukrainian audience first. And we don't think about some European film festival. So we wanted to make this film very easy to audience to understand this hard historical facts, to understand it easy. And but situation, yes, changed, and maybe last 2 months we tried to make this distribution probably this year in some digital way, because cinemas in Ukraine, some are destroyed, some don't work, and it's really hard to go to the cinema when you have 7 times in a day this sirens. And right now we started to show this movie to some European broadcaster distributors, and we right now we have some negotiation with big German distributor. They really love this movie. They say that it's really important to show it right now, but probably we have to make some changes in this international version to international audience, because here in Ukraine we are 8 years in this situation, but people from Europe probably they just start to watch to this situation only 3 months ago, and probably we have to doing some changes. And right now we just wanted to make it, but it's hard question, because this film was financed by Ukrainian government, our film state agency, and they have all rights to this movie. And if we wanted to make some another version for European broadcasters, we have to decide some this rights with government to this movie. And of course, in usual time, it will be not so hard, because for our government, it will be good that big European distributor wanted to buy rights to show this movie on BBC or another big channels, TV channels in Europe. But right now, everything work not very good because of war, and maybe it will take some time to receive this right agreement from government to make this change. And I hope probably in the autumn we can make this international version and maybe try to show it in European TV channel. But in Ukraine, we have this version that you watched. It's like version for Ukrainian audience. And I think in Ukraine, maybe in summer, we will make some public talks and try to show it in big cities where situation will normally, because some culture life coming back. Last week opened some cinemas in Kyiv, in Lviv, with new movies like Batman or some other films, and probably we will have some slot to show it. And for us, it's important too, because this film can show value of this region, that and maybe right now it's really important to talk about this west roots of Donbas, because a lot of Donbas occupied by Russia, and maybe in future people can start to talk why we need this Donbas. It's always pro-Russian territory, and probably it will be better if Donbas will be Russians and Russia will not attack in other cities. But with this movie, we can show that it wasn't forever Russia territory. It was interesting border territory with Ukrainians, with Russian people, and of course with big part of European, with American capital 100 years ago. And we have to talk this story, because it makes this probably region this big volume. You can understand that it's not too easy to say that Donbas is only pro-Russian or Donbas is only pro-Ukrainian. It's like complex of question, and we can discuss it with this movie.
Right. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about the cinemas, whether or not they're open. You said some of them have opened. Somehow it's hard for me to imagine that contrast, where we're living during wartime in Kyiv, but we're having an escape to watch like a Batman or a Doctor Strange or something like that. Have you had the chance to do that? Have you been to the cinema recently?
I really wanted to watch new Batman, because I wait for this movie. And last weekend I have opportunity, because my brother, he making coffee in one big cinema in Kyiv, and he invited me to watch this movie. But this movie is very long, probably 3 hours, this new Batman. And right now we haven't usual traffic connection here in Kyiv. So we have some schedule for metro, for bus, and not all transport works. And this cinema is a little bit far away from our district. And you know that Kyiv is a really big city. And we understand that probably 3 hours movie, and maybe we have 1 hour and a half only for one way to go to this cinema, and 1 hour and a half another come back to home. And we understand that probably with my wife that it will take maybe 5 or 6 hours. And of course, in usual life you don't think about this traffic situation. You just go to watch movie. But right now we have to think about it, and probably we will watch this movie this week, because every day some new bus, some new schedule in subway come back to Kyiv. It's not new bus, it's like old bus, but they coming back in Kyiv. And probably this every week traffic connection is better and better in Kyiv, because a lot of people coming back to Kyiv, and people in Kyiv try to live usual life. And I hope this week I will go to cinema and I will watch this movie, and probably I will spend all day, because I will with traffic, with this possible sirens, and this long movie. And I hope to watch it this week, because it will be some part of usual life, go to cinema and watch Batman.
Yeah, cool.
And of course it will be because right now it's probably hard to explain, but right now in Ukraine, we're thinking about some economic question, and we understand that we have to go to cinemas to support these cinemas, or we have that it's okay right now to go to restaurant because it's not something from that you are, I don't know, some rich person who don't want to cook at home. It's like small support for economic of country, because we understand if this war will be long, we have to create strong economic in Ukraine, and these small things, they are important too. Because my brother, because he works in this cinema, and he say just wanna say me time, and I'm making some tickets for you. But I say no, please, I just wanna go and buy these tickets, because for me it's too important, because I am film director, and maybe if all cinemas will close right now and not open after peace, I don't know where I will show my next movie. So for me, it's important question too. And we right now in Ukraine thinking about some these situations that it is really good to go to cinema, to buy 2 tickets, to buy, I don't know, popcorn, to buy Coca-Cola, and to make your small step to Ukrainian economic.
Yeah, I think people have struggled with that question, right? They've tried to figure out, am I allowed to enjoy myself? Is it okay to have coffee in a cafe? Is it okay to go to a movie? And many people are deciding that, yes,
Yeah, it's like 2 in 1, because you have some enjoy for you, because it's like something good to visit, I don't know, some pub or some cinema, and you understand that in usual life it's just business, but right now is a little bit more important, because you everybody try to support each other. We have I don't know, it's really hard to describe in general situation in Ukraine, because everybody wanted to make something for a country. If you have money, you donate to the army. If you haven't money, but you have some free time, you just want to go and, I don't know, to make something to work physically or to work mentally with some information front, because it's important to everybody wanted to make something. Every day I am working near some, it's not like a military base, it's like place, and from this place people going to army, I don't know how to say in English, and every day I see a lot of lines of men, women, so people really don't want to go to army to become military and to do something. So it's really interesting time. And of course, if I have interesting experience, I probably try to talk it short. When I was in Lviv, I worked a little bit as a fixer with a German journalist in Lviv. I helped to organize some things for these guys, and it was really a new experience for me. It was really interesting that you organize some interview and you translate this interview from Ukrainian to German, or to try to translate to English with this journalist, and you understand, wow, this journalist, these guys, they right now making really beautiful material with emotions, with people, with really strong storytelling. And you think about it, and then you understand, what the fuck, it's good storytelling about my country probably, because they will go to Germany with this reportage, but you will still live here, and all these people, characters from this reportage, they will still live in Ukraine. And of course, when you think about this situation in different country, you can create how to shoot it, how to talk about it, but when you are inside, it's a little bit different situation for you, for your brain, and you wanted to make this job good for, when you are a fixer, to organize it very well. But in deep in your heart and your brain, you understand that it's really sad that it's going on in our country, and you are here, and you will live with this tragedy all your life, and it's really hard to feel it.
Yeah, I think you're saying something like people come and they collect a wonderful tragic story, but people in Ukraine go on living this. And maybe what you're saying is, you and probably no one else wants to be a character in a tragic story.
It's that probably I remember the story when I wanted to explain this volunteering way in Ukraine, that a lot of people wanted to do something, and it's really hard to explain. It's really, you have to live here to feel it and to understand it, that some, I don't know, economic system, it's like collapse, but if you want a food, you can go to restaurant or to some place and people give you food for free. If you, right now you can take subway without ticket or bus without ticket, so it's really different and really a strange time, and you understand that probably it can be for forever, because situation will finish it, but right now it's really hard to explain. And I think any book, any movie, any newspaper can explain this situation in all volume, because it's a lot of different things.
Це Донбас. Індустріальний регіон, розташований на сході України. До війни він здебільшого асоціювався з шахтами, робітничим класом та ностальгією за радянськими часами.
Ми зараз знаходимося в Лисичій Балці. Це місце, яке дало назву місту Лисичанську. Ось воно вугілля, як то кажуть, чорне золото.
Я в Дружковці живу з 54-го року, а французи і бельгійці аж у 19 столітті це все будували.
Вони принесли і гроші, і передові технології.
Перші лікарні та парки в Маріуполі будували американці. Перші кінематографи, коли їх ще не було, наприклад, в Києві, відкривали бельгійці. Німці заснували близько 100 поселень, які радянська влада перетворила на зразкові селища із великими підприємствами.
Родился 11 июня 1948 года. Нью-Йоркский постсовет.
Поселок Нью-Йорк, ты что меня позоришь?
Ну, мне очки тогда надо, я не вижу.
Коли повністю стерти пам'ять про іноземців було неможливо, радянські історики зосереджувалися лише на негативних явищах.
Це було певною політикою забування.
Вот это меня больше всего поражало, что на кладбище ходят козы.
В Донецкой области есть еще один сохранившаяся паровая мельница. Это тоже Менонитская находится.
Це Донбас.
Головний залізничний вокзал країни, мабуть, знайомий кожному українцю. Метушня тих, хто запізнюється на потяги, натовп в транспорті, селфі з рідними перед розлученнями, київські торти в дорогу та запах шаурми біля метро. Мене звати Корній Грицюк, кінорежисер. Народився і прожив більшу частину свого життя в Донецьку. Та вже 5 років через війну я не можу доїхати до рідного міста, щоб обійняти родичів та давніх друзів. Майже все літо 2019 року я провів у поїзді, який їздить з мирної столиці до прифронтової зони, де досі чутно вибухи та постріли. Це колишній поїзд Київ-Донецьк, який зараз доїжджає тільки до Костянтинівки, містечка за 30 кілометрів від сірої зони.
На добраніч.
В цьому поїзді я познайомився з десятками людей, які їздять між столицею та Донбасом або між миром та війною. Деякі з них поділилися зі мною своїми історіями про війну, інші політичними поглядами. Деякі пасажири ділилися навіть копченою куркою з теплою горілкою, а комусь я купляв пиво, аби відверто поговорити.
Да, так что вот такая вот история. По вагонам ходим, общаемся с разными людьми. Кто-то свои мнения высказывает, кто-то не высказывает.
А что там блокпосты? За блокпосты я просто ненавижу всех этих мудаков и наших, и тех.
В будущем хотелось вернуть обратно. Вся Украина, и Крым тоже это Украина.
Кто Донецк развалил? Порошенко.
Мы потеряли уже Донбасс, и мирным путем его не вернешь.
Донбас – это Украина. Была, есть и будет.
Я не испытываю агрессии к России. Обычная страна.
І я кажу, якщо тобі вокзал Ну, к самой России положительный.
Вернется в Донецк я, естественно, хочу, иначе бы я за него не дрался.
Я сказал, что на Кремле повесим украинский и грузинский флаг вместе.
Донбас, образно, кормил всю Украину. И сейчас вот он хочет отделиться.
Эта фраза убивает.
Поезда не соединяет Донбасс и Киев, а скорее всего это дорога в другой мир.
Человек, прошу прощения,
да.
у нас кипяточек, мне надо
извините.
пассажирам чай,
Конечно.
я могу вас
Мне просто
ошпарить.
интересный
Это
земляческий разговор.
Все, проходите.